The newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. Inflation will likely jump to a new high of 9% this month, according to one economist. Jonathan Ravelas told the chiefs that he sees inflation peaking at around 10% next year before stabilizing by the second half. Ravelas attributes this to the geopolitical tensions between Russia and Ukraine and fresh COVID-19 surges in China.
Hopefully, within either December or early first quarter, we could actually see the peak in inflation. There could still overshoot to first quarter. I think it will just hit close to 10%, and then we should stabilize towards the second half of the year.
The House of Representatives have approved the National Wealth Fund bill, but the Makabayan bloc is still on the fence regarding the country's preparedness to create the fund. The details in this report by Marian Enriquez.
The lower house has approved the bill creating the Maharlika Investment Fund on third and final reading. Before this, lawmakers sought to make compromises on the bill. During the period of amendments for the MIF bill, ACT Teachers Party List Representative Franz Castro proposed to increase the percentage that will be remitted to the national government for social welfare projects from 20% to 30%. But this was thumbed down by House Ways and Means Chairman and Albay Representative Joey Salceda, who is one of the sponsors of the bill.
If we make it 30, nothing will be left of the fund. So wala na akong palalaguin, wala na akong ibibigay na ayuda. So in other words, Your Honor, there is some financial limitations to really just emaciating the MIF to a point wherein it can no longer perform the objectives that the proponent wishes.
Can we have it 25%?
Your Honor, we accept 25.
Well, the majority also joins the proposal in accepting the compromise agreement.
Despite this compromise, the Makabayan bloc is still not convinced that the Philippines is ready to establish a sovereign wealth fund.
Huwag na tayong magpanggap sa usaping ito, lubog tayo sa depisito, trilyon-trilyon ng ating utang, wala tayong surplus, pero bakit gusto pa rin nating isugal ang pondo ng financial institutions natin?
House Speaker Martin Romualdez, who was also part of the ASEAN-EU summit delegation in Belgium, told the media that he was able to talk to Senator Mark Villar, who will be filing the counterpart measure at the Senate.
It's actually picking up from what was approved at the APRO level, no? So we have a refined measure, no? And when we spoke just last night, he says he will use the draft bill that we've already refined through APRO, approved by the banking committee that's now on the floor as the starting point. And he's very, very enthusiastic about it.
With the House approval, the bill on the Maharlika Investment Fund is now at the hands of senators. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Riza Diaz. The Supreme Court will be deciding on pending petitions concerning several issues by early next year. Chief Justice Alexander Gesmundo said they will prioritize election-related petitions. The High Court will also tackle the petition challenging the legality of the no-contact apprehension policy, or NCAP. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has also formed an ad hoc committee to handle cases on anti-terrorism. The ad hoc panel members include former Chief Justice Renato Puno, who stood as consultant during the oral arguments of the anti-terror law.
We went a step further to ensure that the implementation of the anti-terrorism law is properly done when it reaches the judicial process. So we want to make sure that there are specific rules governing the anti-terrorism cases so that the rights of people are respected. The right of the state is also equally protected.
Years of political tension in Peru is reaching its breaking point as activists took to the streets following their former president's failed self-coup attempt earlier this month. More details in this Bloomberg report.
There are no signs that the political crisis in Peru will be resolved anytime soon. Violent protests have spread across the country over the arrest of President Pedro Castillo after his impeachment by a Congress that he tried to dissolve. Demonstrators are demanding Castillo's release, the resignation of his successor, and a new general election. Political instability is not new in the Andean country, which for years has been one of Latin America's fastest growing economies. Castillo was replaced by Dina Boluarte, who's Peru's sixth president since 2018. Over the past 3 decades, the country has seen a series of presidents ousted or arrested on allegations of corruption. For example, Castillo is being held in the same prison as former President Alberto Fujimori, who was sentenced to 25 years on murder and corruption. As a concession to protesters, Boluarte wants to hold elections as soon as December 2023. But experts are saying that political changes won't happen until there's substantial political reform that changes the social problems at the root of the country.
The reason why Peru is so much more volatile politically than most other countries in the region is due to its constitution. Peru has a single house of Congress with 130 members in it. All that needs to happen for a president to be impeached is for more than 2/3 of them to vote for the motion. A lot of Peruvians think that basically the country needs to change the constitution to make it less easy for presidents to be ousted by lawmakers, because right now it's easier in Peru to oust a head of state than it is almost in any other country in the world.
And those are the top stories of the hour. Join us later at 10:15 in the morning as we continue to monitor the day's biggest stories. You can also catch One News on Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.